another video on, but the only place I could put it was right there. Already. Gas line needs to run to the top of that. They're pretty simple. 2 studs and put a cap on the outside. Okay, so I'm going to be installing gas lines. I've got a heater that's pretty much up above this joist right there. So I'm going to go up through there with one of the gas lines, and then I'm going to run it across the ceiling here with some CCST, I think is what it's called. Flex gas line. And then I'm gonna turn it into hard pipe, and it's gonna come down here and tie into this one also. The tank that I bought, I got another video on, but the only place I could put it was right there, because getting up my driveway, I bought a loader, and I sold the loader since, but the loader was able to carry it up to there and set it down. And then from there, we need a little bit more volume, so the 1/2 inch I don't think will work, so I switched to 3/4, and I'm going to do 3/4 through the wall, up the wall, and then I'm going to tie it into that flex line. And go across the ceiling and then tie in and go up, and then I'm gonna just hook up these flex lines. I bought these online. One's a little longer than the other one because I'm going through the floor and tying into the back of the heater that's upstairs. And then I got some tools, pipe wrenches, pipe cutter for the CCST, utility knife with a hook blade so I can pull out some staples. That works pretty well. I'll show you. And I got my drill, so I can go take the cap off the outside of that and find out where I'm going with the line. I'm probably going to run the flex line through the ceiling first, and then I'm going to go, I guess I can tie it in down there and go up through the floor, and then on this end I'm going to have to run this from the outside in. Well, I guess I could run it out because I'm putting a union out there, and I can do the dirt work last. I'm waiting for it to warm up outside, maybe just a little bit before I go out there and play in the dirt. Yeah, other than that, I think that's about it. Let me get started. I also got some of this stuff here. This is made for gas lines. It's a Slow Dry 5 soft set kit, that 1/2 inch flex line, and it came with these 2 risers, so I can go one out at the tank and one up the wall here. It's supposed to be about 18 inches under the ground. You can see where it says the dirt level is supposed to be, so I got to dig that out. And it's got 2 connectors, one for each side to hook up the gas line. I'm probably going to use all the gas line and just leave it coiled up, to that way when I move it later, I have the option of cutting it down. That stuff I ordered online also. I ordered 2 connectors for it, and then I went to Home Depot and I got a bunch of this stuff, just random pieces, 3/4 to half, half to 3/4, 3/4 T's, 3/4 90s, a couple couplers. I did get a union just in case I got to take this apart, and I don't want to. This is going to be really close to the wall, and I won't be able to turn that off. So that's a low pressure valve. I got that in a kit. It came with a high pressure valve there. So that one's supposed to be reduce the tank pressure to from 60 psi I think to 10, and then it's 10 psi through the 1/2 inch line to the low pressure. I ordered all this stuff pretty much online. It saved me a bunch of money. I don't remember exactly what I paid for it because it's been a while since I bought this stuff. These heaters are pretty nice. They're Williams heaters. They're supposed to be good at this high elevation as long as you get the high elevation kit. They're supposed to work up to 8,000 feet. We're at 8,250 or something, which is pretty high up. This is the heater. I've already replaced the valve that's in it, the orifice. That way it, I believe, gives it more gas because we're at such high elevation that there's not enough air up here. Maybe it's less gas. I don't know. Anyways, I replaced it already. The gas line needs to run to the top of that. They're pretty simple. You just cut like a 9-inch hole in the wall, mount this thing to the wall right in between the two studs, and put a cap on the outside and seal it up. So I already mounted those. I didn't get a video on those, sorry, but I just drilled a centering pilot hole through the wall, what they recommended off the ground and away from the windows, and then I cut it out with my Sawzall, I believe. So I do have to take that back off to put a piece of drywall behind. It's cold up here, and our only source of heat is electric baseboard heat. I think one year we paid $530 for 1 month of electric baseboard heat. So we bought a pellet stove, and that's about $5 a bag for a bag of pellets, 40-pound bag. That usually lasts a little better than 1 day. If it's really cold, it could last a day. So you do the math, $5 a bag times 30 days. It gets expensive pretty quick. So I decided to go with liquid propane. And it was relatively cheap. I think those heaters cost me about $1,000 a piece, which isn't that bad considering. You just hook them to the wall. If we have a power outage, they still work. There's no fans, they're radiant. So I just have to hook them to a thermostat, and as long as I have liquid propane, I will have heat. And then we have the pellet stove for, it's just nice to run every once in a while. It's nice to look at, but it gets, you can go through 2 pallets, good size pallets full that are this tall, 48 by 48 of pellets a year. And I don't like hauling pellets. This is one of those fittings that come off that flexible CCST. Keep calling it that. I think that's what it is. Flexible 3/4 inch gas line. And this is what they call a dirt leg. So this is going to, I guess all the dirt's going to fall in there. At low pressure, it should just fall in there as the riser goes up. I'm going to put that right about there somewhere. I'm going to hook this flexible gas line up here to the top of it, and I'm going to run it up through the floor, poke it out through the wall, and then this is going to go right down into the valve of the heater, and the shutoff should be right there where you can access it right there. And then also I'll probably put an access panel in the drywall right here so you can do with what we have, which is a piece of Romex. I'm going to go electrical tape that to that piece of flex gas pipe to the bottom of that Romex and pull it up through. Okay, so just fish it up through. Try not to bust the drywall out too much. I'm not sure how much is left, but it needs to come up. Make a nice swooping bend. We don't want any kinks. And there needs to be the valve on top of this, a little nipple, a valve, and then this. So yeah, it looks like there's not very much left here to tie to my riser. This is what I'm going to call it. So that's going to go right into that. I'm going to pull the excess. I'm going to pull the extra up and out. And that valve's got to come off of there and go up top. And then it's going to be threaded into this. So this is a compression fitting on top. This thing's kind of flared, and that goes on the top of this, which is a compression fitting. You don't need tape or dope or anything like that, or pipe tape or anything like that. And then down here where this piece, the bottom of this, threads into the riser, that's when you need to use the paste or tape. And this needs to be taped, the bottom needs to be taped. This is that odd compression fitting that they say is a pain in the butt with this stuff. We'll find out here real quickly. I'm going to thread all this together and thread all that together, and then I'm going to work on hooking this up. Screwed on the piece that's going to go through the wall. This is going to be on the outside. I'll make a bracket that holds this to the wall somewhere. This piece goes through the wall and I'll tie into it, so I need to go poke a hole in the wall, get all this tied in, and then this is going to be buried in the ground up to this line, so that goes pretty deep in the ground. This is a union. This is going to screw the two pieces together once it's all done. I'll dig that later, but anyways, I need to do a takeoff and find out where my hole in the wall is going to be. I know that this line that's supposed to be buried in the ground is 7 inches lower than this. So if I go, you know, this needs to be 7 inches needs to be added onto that. So from here, 7 inches is the ground, and then from there up to here we got about 19 inches. So minus 1.5 inches for that 2x4 is 17.5. So I marked it wrong. I need to be 17.5 inches off the ground, approximately right there. Of course, it's 180 degrees backwards from what it needs to be. I wonder if I can just go this way. Probably not gonna. Tight enough. We're going to just bend this just a little more so it's in the housing. That should be good. And we're going to hook up. Bunch of stuff just came out of that. Alright. Now, shoot, we're going to have to take that off probably. Have to be that tight either. We're still dealing with this really thin pot metal. And we don't want it to break. This reduces it to 10 psi, by the way. We're going from 60 inside this tank or whatever. That's probably good. Make sure this is nice and cleaned up. Let's load this up. A little snug. Should be good. Probably zip tie it right there or something. That's that. So when I crank that on, it should be 10 psi coming out the other end. jets. Yeah, maybe we won't zip tie it, but that's what it's going to be. Okay, well, I got started with the hole. I gotta call it a day. I'm about the right depth there. I might take that off and dig a little deeper, put just some dirt in the bottom so there's no rocks. Looks like there's some rocks just underneath the pipe. But anyways, I'm gonna temporarily run that out of the ground, and I'm gonna run it through this pipe on top of the ground. And I'm gonna make this pipe a little more rigid so it can't move around. In the corners I'm going to cover it with dirt, but that's going to run over there. Pipe comes to this pipe, which goes to that pipe, which goes over to the tank. So my daughter's messing with her new toy. So anyways, I'm going to call that a day, and I'll work back on it probably next weekend. Alright, well, that's pretty much it. I cut a piece of drywall, poked a hole in it, and hung it back on the wall after I hooked the gas lines up. I put the gas line through the top there. I poked the thermostat wire through the bottom. Hung the cover over it and lit the pilot, and it's working great. I've got heat. When it comes to the thermostat, it's a 2-wire system because it just hooks to a single control valve. It doesn't have a fan or anything else. This particular thermostat is a Focus Pro. So I just looked in here to hook it up. I removed this jumper. It had a jumper on it. I removed the jumper and I hooked it to W and R for heat only. And I didn't have any power going to it, so I'm just running it off a battery. Well, that's pretty much it until I decide to bury the gas line and move the tank. I'll make another video when I get around to that, maybe next year if that tank's empty enough to move.
I never made it, but I know I